Hello and welcome. This is Kristen from Life of Crafting, and I am back with another video in my Sheetload of Cards series that I'm doing. I started in April of 2021, and what I'm trying to do every week is go through another one of these sketches. They are provided on YouTube by the woman called CallMeCraftyAl. Every month she releases a new card sketch and provides a lot of samples. It's a really nice thing that she provides because the sketch pretty much will use up all of the paper. This is the recipe, so to speak, that she provides. And the first one gives you like what all your first page is usually all what the supplies are. This one happens to be inspired by someone named Creative Chelsea, so I'm not exactly sure who that is. But she usually gives you an idea of what the card will look like when it's completed. And this one has a pink layer, if you can see behind it, that will be probably a solid color for me. I'm not sure if I'm bringing in, I guess let me go through what I have here and then explain to you where they're going on here. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. What she's calling for is two 12 by 12 pieces of printed paper. So I'm going to be using the Stampin' Up! Floral Boutique paper. This is an old discontinued paper from Stampin' Up! If I had to guess, it's probably from 2018. And what I'm bringing in is, like I said, you need two. And this paper pattern, when they released it, was all just the one Night of Navy color and white. That was it. And everybody loved it. I mean, myself included. I love this paper. And it's great because I'm going to just use up these two. And they mix and match so well together because of the prints and the color being so monochromatic there. So you need two of those, and then you cut them. And as the design shows you, like, you tear the edge, and you'll show one and the other on the other side. So these will mix and match together wonderfully. Then you're supposed to have one color that's going to be the background that I told you was the pink. And then you cut a 1/2 inch by 11 inch strip of cardstock, or you could use ribbon. I'm choosing to I was thinking about using ribbon to get rid of my stash, but I'm gonna use these strips up that I had from, I don't even know what. This is a Hello Honey color that, like I said, I have in my stash. I'm gonna use them up. And you kind of use them on the front like a ribbon to go back and forth. And then on top of that, you're supposed to cut a circle in vellum. So I do have some vellum I'm going to use up in my stash. And then you use some kind of a, just a design of some piece and a sentiment. So I have these flowers that I mentioned probably last month in a video when I did a weekend card class with a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and she had cards, and then when you were done you were allowed to use any and all of her different products that she had there. And she had this floral stamp. It was something like Fabulously Florals or something was the name of it. It was from the 21-22 catalog, and I just used some of her inks and some of her stamps and figured, you can never go wrong with floral embellishments. So I made at the time 8. So I'm going to be too short because this does come out with 10 cards in the way you cut this paper. So that's where I think I'm going to pull in some other floral stamp I have in my stash. This one's on the smaller side, so I did print or stamp a couple of the leaves that were in that set just in case I was going to need them, and I probably will based on the size of what they want you to cut the vellum. And then you also have, like, if you look here, it's like a sentiment with a backdrop on it, and they're using like another sheet of paper to do your sentiment, or part of the sentiment on it. So I do have, I think I'm going to use, this is just something I have in my stash for the flowers. I think I may use that. But I have these 3. I have the 2 honeybee birthdays, and I can do one that just says happy birthday, and it has the different back fonts on it, and the dies, I can't even speak. And then this other one has birthday as well, and it has the 3 different fonts that the way it cuts it out with the shadows and stuff. This one seems like the font is a little bigger though, and I'm not sure how I like that. And they're also much longer. Like I said, if you look at the sentiment here, they're calling for a small, just one like four letter word. Happy would probably work there with birthday. I don't know. I'll figure that out. That's the last thing I'm going to be concerned with. But then I also have this Recollections that has happy birthday thinking of you, and they're just cut out of the words. So I don't get the shadow behind them, but we'll see. I don't know. And then here's my infinity circles to cut my vellum. So that looks like pretty much everything I'm going to need. The only thing I'm going to else probably need is a little bit of ink just to do whatever sentiment goes up there. But the rest of it is just all paper cutting. So I'm going to get to cutting my papers and laying out some of these cards. I like to do what I call a concept card first, so that I don't really get heavily into all the cutting and then find I preferred a different method than how I started with. So I'm going to do my first card, and then when it's all together, I'll be back. Hello, and I'm back. Oh God, I hate these lights. I gotta find something to do that these lights aren't like always visible. So here is what I made out of my October 2021 sketch from the Sheetload of Cards. What I chose to use was a light blue background. Felt that was enough to pull it all together, but it wasn't kind of overshadowing, and it wasn't, I felt like if I went with the navy, it was really darkening the mood, and the white just washed everything out. White was, you needed the color. So when I was debating about going with more of the yellow, but it was going to drown out all of this too. So by going with that, I guess, third color or fourth color in here, however you want to count them, I felt like it really added but didn't distract, if that makes sense. So what I've used here is the sketch, and I could have actually gotten, what was it? It was supposed to get 10. I probably could have gotten 12, because in this sketch, they have you cutting the paper, and there's an end down here that is 2 inches. And I wound up using that on one of my cards because I had miscounted, and I started cutting out my sentiments here, and I had an extra one. So honestly, I probably could have had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Oh, wait a minute, I'm like miscounting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, yeah, so I got 11 cards here, and I was supposed to have 10. So I could have gotten 12. But like I said, at that point, I wasn't gonna do more stuff. So what I used was the Floral Bouquet paper, Hello Honey for the little strip. This light blue is a discontinued color from Stampin' Up called Bashful Blue. And like I said, I'm just doing this to use up my stash, but light blue in there you probably can find in your stash as well. The first few that I did not do like an end, like a ribbon. I just left them straight. I'm trying to find one here on that. And if you notice, I think it just looked nicer by cutting it on an angle. I don't see that anything was recommended in the instructions on that, but honestly, there's so much going on that it looks nice enough either way. Then the vellum. I chose to use a 2.5 inch punch that I have. It was the largest that I had, and had I, like I said, the recommendation was for a 2 3/4 inch, but when I started, I was using this, the stamp set was called All Things Fabulous for this stamp set, and I only had 8, if you recollect, so I had to come up with 3 more, and for this flower, it really fit well on the 2.5. In this one, I wish I had gone with a little bit bigger. But, you know, I had already just punched the whole sheet out because the way the instructions were on how you were going to get them all out of one sheet of vellum, there was no real clear-cut way for me to just make a cut so that I could get a die through my machine. So that's why I went with a punch, because then I could get all of them out of one sheet. So having said that, do whatever you want for your vellum. Like I said, these were something I already had. I then went and used the Honeybee Happy Birthday one. This is the one I wound up using because when I did the die, as you can see here, it pretty much just fills up this card. The other one, the birthday was much bigger. It would have been off of the printed paper. It probably would look fabulous on other ones, but I wanted to contain everything in on this to keep it around this highlight piece. I didn't want anything becoming take the eye too far off of what was going to be the highlight of this card. And then the Happy was on a different one. And I was having a real hard time trying to do placement on either one of these without it showing and covering up the bee in the birthday. But I don't think it's enough of a distraction that you really mind. You probably wouldn't notice if I didn't bring it up. I used my scraps that I had for that Hello Honey. I had those strips, if you recall, and I was able to cut the birthday out. I loved this birthday. I forgot I had used it once in the past. And they are in like pieces. So like you had the B, IR in one. You had to make sure you didn't lose the little dot. That got lost on the plates half the time. The TH is another. The D is by itself. The AY was by itself, but you really had to, it doesn't show there. You really had to make sure that the center of the A came out. It's really tight. Again, you probably could have left it in there and nobody would have really taken notice, but I was being anal. So that was that version. And then, like I said, I had 3 left, and I'm going to tell you, I was having a really tough time trying to find a flower that was going to add to this, that wasn't either too small. I didn't want it just, I didn't want to hang it over the edge of the vellum. So it was really difficult to try it, more difficult than I expected it to be. So I do have the old Daisy Lane and its matching punch from Stampin' Up. And I wound up punching out just two on the white. I tried a couple different things to see, and I really didn't like it just stamped. I did like it with the oxide inks from Tim Holtz. I used Scattered Straw and Rusty Hinge. And then I just had these big faceted rhinestones in my stash. They came from a store called AC Moore in my area that has now since been sold and bought out by Michaels. But again, they're just, if I had to guess, maybe 1/4 inch in size. Maybe it's a 1/2 inch looking at it for here. And I just used a C8 alcohol Copic marker to cover the center up. Honestly though, I was debating because I did do some and I forgot to cover it at first, and I didn't color it in, and I thought it looked nice too. So having said that, that was the 3 that I got, and I challenge you to tell me which one was with the 2-inch wide paper. And I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna want to think it's this one, and it's not. So I say that to mention that using the 2-inch strip is definitely not going to look foolish. Matter of fact, if I had to cut this layer, I probably think it would have been a 4. No, actually the light blue was cut on a 4. So you can definitely use those strips at the bottom and get yourself 2 more cards out of that. So I hope you found some inspiration out of this sketch. I sure did. I probably will use this several times in the card making adventures moving forward. And like I said, I wound up getting all these beautiful cards out of that sketch and that paper. So I hope you find some inspiration. Love to see you back. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these card sketches, also trying to explain to you some of my thought processes and what I'm choosing and why I'm choosing the items that I do when I put them on here. You know, I could have done some coloring of flowers to put in here, but I didn't want these too overly done. I wanted to get them done and quick. If I had to guess, I probably spent more time trying to figure out what the 3 flowers were going to be that I needed than assembling all the rest of this. If I had to guess, I probably have 4 hours into making these 12 cards, and out of that 4 hours, I bet you 1.5 hours of it easily was trying to figure out what this flower was going to be. So I could have easily did these cards, and like one little afternoon time if you're looking for something to do. You know, you need a couple cards and you wanted to do something quick. So I hope you found some inspiration out of this. If you haven't checked out this Call Me Crafty Al, I would highly recommend it. Her sketches are very unique. I love what she does with the community based around them. And I love how you can see other people's sketches and use them in different ways in what you're thinking was going to be on how to do the sketch. There's a lot of different thoughts, even though it's all the same sketch. It's funny to me. So I thank you for your time. If you like this video, I really would appreciate it if you could do a thumbs up. And if you're finding that you get a lot of inspiration out of my videos, please subscribe. May you have a wonderful, wonderful day.